This is from The Magician's Land by Lev Grossman. The Lorians were Vikings, basically Thor types. Tall, long blonde hair, big chins, big chests, big beards, but this character came in about 5'6", with a shaved head and a fat round Buddha face like a soup dumpling and a significant admixture of some Asiatic DNA. He was stripped to the waist, even though it was about 40 degrees out, and his latte-colored skin was oiled all over. Or maybe he was just really sweaty. The champion's heavy round gut hung down over his waistband, but he was still a pretty scary-looking bastard. He had a huge saddle of muscle across his upper back, and his biceps were like thighs, and there must have been some muscle in there just by volume, even if they did look kind of chubby. His weapon was weird-looking enough, a polearm with a big curvy cross of sharp metal on the end, that you just knew he could do something really outstandingly dangerous with it. This is from Doctor Who, Time Lord Fairy Tales by Justin Richards. At last, the Emperor drew his final breath. Lord Grath pulled a sheet up over his dead brother's face.
"Rigel,"
Grath said,
"have the council gather at once. They must know immediately of the Emperor's death, and they must appoint a regent to rule on behalf of the children until they come of age."
Grath then sighed and turned to the twins. The boy, Asher, was pale with grief. His sister, Ella, fought back her tears.
"You are both emperor now,"
Grath told them.
"You shall rule together, just as you were born together. Whoever is appointed as regent will guide you and help you until you're old enough and capable of ruling on your own."
Next, Grath turned to the Emperor's physician.
"You must examine the body,"
he said quietly.
"This illness struck quickly and has infected no one else. I should like to be sure that it was indeed misfortune that took my beloved brother from us and not something more sinister."
This is from the Yonahlossee Writing Camp for Girls by Anton. You all know Herbert Hoover? A titter spread through the room. Oh, of course not personally. He smiled, and I found myself smiling back. Our president has lately spoken of his belief that our country will recover from this financial crisis. He held up a newspaper, though we were all too far away to see it. A girl in front of me yawned. This is a little old, of course. He paused, as if anticipating our laughter, which, of course, followed. All of the magazines and newspapers were, at the very least, a little old. More often, they were months and months old, sent to us by our mothers and sisters. Here our president declares the depression over. He tapped the paper lightly with his fingertip. He asks for our continued effort in supporting the economy. Gates, who sat a row ahead, raised her hand. Yes, Gates, Mr. Holmes said. He folded the paper neatly while Gates spoke. How can we help? She asked. I thought that she was perhaps being impertinent, but Mr. Holmes didn't seem to think so. A good question, he said, and one best answered by your father. To put it bluntly, money begets money. Even Mrs. Holmes smiled a little bit behind her husband. Encourage your father to invest, to spend, to trust the banks. At first, I didn't understand what had triggered the merry laughter that followed Mr. Holmes's answer. Sissy was giggling next to me, and as I watched her pretty fingers cover her mouth, I understood completely. There was nothing we could do to help. We were but daughters. The idea that we would offer our fathers financial counsel was, indeed, laughable.